I don't know why this is so fuzzy. There we go. Guess it takes a while for it to focus. Hey, what's up, guys? Nothing to do on a Saturday night, so figured we could just go live. If anybody wants to come in here and hang out. I mean, I pretty much need to clean some cages. And if anybody wants to come on in, that is fine. See what's going on with the Instagram. I've been on TikTok way too much other than this, really. Nobody's on. It's Saturday, so everybody's probably super busy. See what's going on. Hey, what's up, guys? I really need to get a better rack system for babies now that I keep on buying babies and they don't do well in the 70-30 as they're smaller. Well, it depends. I don't like to put them in there until they eat a little bit, but other than that, I've been thinking about buying a 5540 from ARS because I think those are perfect size for I think those are perfect size for the babies and for adults. I think. I don't know. I don't know if a female ball python can fit in a 5540, but I have been seeing a lot of breeders stuffing adult size females in very, very thin, small enclosures. So I don't know how well this camera is, but these are some of the new babies that I got, and I made a video earlier today. I know it was like 20 minutes, and I tried to rush through it, but it's still a super long video. So this is, we'll see if we can get a better look at it under the lights right here. So this is the ivory Enchi pied, which is the yellow belly, or super yellow belly. Sorry, it's a super yellow belly Enchi pied. So it's got a nice little head marking on here, and then some very nice yellows on the top. And it really doesn't, I mean, it just looks a lot different than most snakes. And so that was a Kabolka snake, and I just had to buy it, not because it was, not just because Justin had it, or it was from Justin. A lot of people just buy from him just because of his name or whatever, but he's got a lot of cool stuff. And I bought a few snakes from him, and this is another. So that was a female, and then the male that I got right here. And if I do want to breed, I have a normal pied, nothing special, that this male can go to. And this is a Orange Dream Enchi Leopard pied. So I could get a bunch of cool combos from him if I put him to the female next year, which I'm hoping she's up to size, because you only need 1,000 grams on a female, and she's up to 500. So hopefully by next year she's at 1,000, which would be kind of cool. Even if I don't get more of hit all the genes on this. Even getting orange dream pieds, NG pieds, or leopard pieds would be awesome, and I would keep every single one. I'd keep every single one of them. I hope so. I think on these ones they will, because I think the orange dreams and the NGs stay pretty bright. But in reality, if you want any snake to stay bright on the ball pythons, I think you really have to add fire to it. So I do have a super fire clown, but adding fire to fire makes pure white snakes, so you kind of got to watch out for that. And then this is my new one that I just got 2 days ago. It's a pastel pied female. So some pretty cool stuff with her. And then I got a mahogany male that I think I have over here. So I have this female as pastel that the mahogany can go to her. And then I have a black pastel over here that's a year old that I'm going to put a mahogany to. And then 2 days ago, I just bought another black pastel pied. So hopefully next year, because if I do it right, then I could get, if I put a mahogany to a black pastel pied, you could get regular pieds, black pastel pieds, mahoganies. But if you hit on the mahogany black pastel, that would be awesome. So I was kind of going to go for the panda, but I still might, depending on what I get out of the babies next year with him and with the black pastel. But I just heard there's a lot of problems with the pandas, and it worries me. Like, they got shark jaw, they can have a lot of kinks, and then a lot of them die after birth. VPI extended pied. Yeah, unfortunately, pretty much all of ball pythons fade out. Really, no matter what they are. Even the clowns can fade out to really, really ugly colors. Like, they're super bright and super awesome as babies, and then they just look kind of ugly as adults. I think yellow belly holds color. Like, I'm still trying to learn all of the genes and the combos, because I'm still new to all of this stuff. But if you add fire to anything, it really helps keep the coloration on that. So even the pastel pied that I got, it's super bright as a baby, but as adults, it still will fade out. But I would try to get a fire pied, and I would add, because I think VPI is recessive, isn't it? So I'm still trying to learn all of the stuff with the boas and with the ball pythons, and there's just so much stuff. It hurts my brain. But I don't know if VPI is in ball pythons is recessive. So you should look at definitely a fire or something. But I did get a really cool, hold on. So I think this girl in here is my Enchi. Yeah, this girl is really cool. So I got this girl from Mike Wilbanks, and Wilbanks is really cool because if you go on their website and you sign up for their email, you get like 10% off, which is awesome. So this girl right here is a fire Enchi clown, and I don't think the lighting is very good. But that might be too bright. But I really like this girl. So trying to get as many females as I can right now, because that's going to be the best bet on the breeding if everything works out. Like, I don't have incubators, or I don't have anything yet, so I'm definitely behind. But on the male side, so I have 2 clowns next year that I could breed. I have a regular pastel and then a butter clown, and I really want leopard stuff. So I don't know if I want to go Enchi leopard or buy a pastel leopard clown to get super pastel leopard stuff. But I think really anything you put clown to clown to, it should be some. I think it'll be good. I don't think you can go wrong with really anything. I do have a male banana, a banana clown, which I think I'm going to put that with the butter, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So this girl right here is, I don't know what I'm going to put to this. I mean, this is a killer. It's seems like a pretty easy combo. So I don't know. I've been kind of looking at the red stripe clowns just because it's kind of like I really haven't heard too much about them. So it'd be kind of cool to get one and kind of breed into it just to see what would happen. But I don't want to get stuck with 1,000 different ball pythons if I can't sell them. But probably anything pied or cool clown stuff, I'll just keep. So she shouldn't fade out that much. She will fade out though. Like she won't have the bright oranges, I don't think. But because she has the fire in her, I really don't know how much that's going to go into play as an adult. So it really does suck because all the babies are very vibrant and super bright. And then it just is depressing because after a year and a half, they just don't look as good as they did. So I mean, it's always nice to go online and stuff to see if people have the adult genes that you're looking for, and then you know, if you can find one as an adult that you want, you can see what it's going to look like. So I did see one of these as an adult, and it's really hard to see on here about her colors, but I'm sure the yellow on top of her will completely fade out. So she has all black eyes, which is kind of cool, but I think she'll fade out a lot. And I mean, she's still a pied, not like a super bright pied, but we'll see what happens with her, especially with this one, the ivory. So I don't know if I have to get another ivory because I know Justin makes them, so I'm sure he'll hatch more out next year. So if I have to buy another ivory and she pied from him, I mean, I wouldn't care. I would just put the two together because I think they're really cool. Kind of unique. I don't know. I've never personally seen them before. I personally like the champagne. Champagne is one of the genes where you can get the wobble effect, kind of like the spider, but nobody really talks about it. I don't know why everybody beats up on spiders so much. I personally like spider. I love the patterns that they throw and the colors and stuff like that when you add them into stuff, but it's just really tough right now because everybody hates on the spider. And so I don't know why they skip over the champagne gene because champagne, they have issues too, but I love how they look. I would breed them. I mean, you can't go wrong. People want anything and everything. Like, I don't think there's any wrong genes at all that you can put together. Like I say, I don't know if VPI is recessive in ball pythons, but if you make all hets, then people will buy them. People like hets because they want to make their own combos or their own little projects. I personally don't like hets. It depends. If it's a super expensive snake and there's a possibility of hitting it with a het, then I'll get it. But if it's something like basic, then I won't buy a het because you know I like seeing what's going on, and I like seeing what I buy, and I like seeing the genes in it. And even if you have 100% het, you can still miss on what you want on your whole clutch. And then if it's something that you were really wishing for the last 2 years, if it's a female, then it's kind of depressing. But most people get hets as males. of what I'm told. So they'll get the visual female and then het as a male, because you can breed a male in 6 months. And I think I'm probably wrong at this, but I think males throw the hets better than the females. That's just what I hear. I have no idea. I don't breed. But hey, what's going on, Austin? I appreciate it. But got a couple snakes that I have to eat tomorrow. Got a couple snakes in shed. The bigger boas over here are doing well. They're kind of, I don't know. They've been hit or miss lately. We've been having some storms, and it's been kind of throwing off their attitude a little bit. But I don't know. What do you guys want to see? I wish I could invite people into the live, because I don't know what you guys want to see or what you guys want to talk about. If you guys got questions, I'll try to answer them. I'm not a breeder. I'm learning everything. So if you got breeding questions, I probably am not the best for that. The VPI Aztec, she's doing much better. It's just, I just have to work with her. I think it's just because it's she's still a baby, and she's got Colombian blood in her, and so I think the Colombia and the Aztec kind of throws an attitude a little bit, but she should be okay. My expensive boa, that's tough. What is my most expensive boa or snake? The boa? I'd have to say my VPI IMG was 3,800. So kind of regret it. I mean, it's an awesome animal and it'll throw awesome babies, but it was expensive and I could have bought a lot more. See, I don't know. I need to get my mind right on what I want to do, because I wouldn't mind breeding ball pythons, because you can breed them a lot easier and safer and faster than boas. But yeah, no regrets. I mean, an IMG VPI is worth a lot of money when it's a female breeder. But I mean, and because it's VPI, like I could just put a het to an awesome het to it. And since they throw so many babies, I would definitely hit on the hets, but I would just need another male VPI for it. And then everything would be VPI, whatever it is. And then the IMG might get thrown into it as well. So it's kind of weird, because the IMG is not a complete dominant. So you're not 100% going to get IMG stuff if you put an IMG with whatever you're breeding it to. Most expensive ball python. That's tough, because I just bought a couple expensive ones. I would have to say the Orange Dream Enchi Leopard Pied. I think that was 18. And then the Ivory Enchi Pied was 16. And then everything just trickled down. So I have a couple $1,000 ball pythons, and then the black pastel pieds are 900 to 1,000. And the only reason why those are expensive because they make the panda. No reason why that should be that much money at all. But you're only paying for really for breeding, you know what I mean? If that kind of messes everything up. So like, it is expensive if you just buy a $1,500 animal just for pet, but most people are buying them to breed and make better stuff. How many species do you keep? I keep king snakes. I have 2 king snakes, and then a bunch of ball pythons, a bunch of boas, the anacondas, and then the Burmese. So kind of been tossing back and forth if I want to breed the Burm. I would love to try to get ivories out of it, because I have pearl, but that's still in a couple of years though. So the last thing I want to do is breed a Burmese and get 40 eggs, and then I'm stuck with 40 Burmese babies because I can't sell them. So that would suck. But I try not to get overwhelmed on what I buy and have, because feeding, it's expensive to feed them, even the ball pythons every week. And then it's really expensive to feed the boas, and it's going to be more expensive to feed the bigger snakes. How many did you get out of with that clutch? Anacondas are boas. They are. A lot of people don't know that, and people like to argue about that. 12? That's not bad. I could handle 12. Hypogranites. Ooh, those are nice. I like those a lot. Yeah, Georgia. I got into kind of a discussion with somebody about the whole anacondas or boas type of thing. It didn't work out very well, but yes, you are correct. Any plans on upgrading the facility someday? Yes, I hope so. So hopefully at some point I can move into a house that has a basement, or the house that I'm living in, I at some point get enough money that I can put out a barn in the backyard, because I'm going to need room, a lot of room, especially if I start breeding. So breeding is on the table right now, possibly, but again, it's all about room and what I want to keep, what I want to breed, and stuff like that. So right. I mean, I think you can even breed them to boa constrictors like the regular ones, but I mean, they fall under the same thing. So, but I would definitely recommend anacondas to anybody. I'm looking to pick up a male anaconda. I don't know. I'm kind of having issues with it though, of what I want. So I would love to breed anacondas. And anacondas don't get as big as people think they do. And that's another discussion that I have with with a ton of people. And by discussions, I mean small arguments. But boas, let's see some boas. Oh, my snow just shed. So I'll show you guys the my snow. So I don't know if the lighting is horrible. Let me know. I'll try to move the light a little bit. So this is last year's snow, and I do have a moon glow, but this is the snow. So the snow, or the moon glow, just has hypo in it. But super sweet, eats very well, and just kind of hanging out. So he's still on mice. I could probably, at some point this year, I need to push him up to rats, but. And there's an IMG that's het for snow, so I could put the snow, that male snow, to her at some point. So this is a Motley. What is this? Motley Jungle Hypo IMG. So a lot. And then this girl was a lot too. So this girl was 3,000, and so we'll see what happens with her. I mean, she's still probably got another 3-4 years before she can breed. And it's just tough on breeding boas because a lot of boas die on breeding, and a lot of people don't realize that. It's a lot of stress on their bodies, and even if it's a first time breeding pair, they could still die. So it might turn all black, or a lot darker than this. So because it has the motley in it, it's definitely going to go super black, but I don't know. It's just got a whole bunch of genes in it, so we'll see. It's definitely gotten a lot darker since I got it, which is really cool. So I'm not sure. I do have an IMG motley that's still a baby, and that one should go completely black, and that's a male. So it just kind of sucks that, well, you're not supposed to put motley to motley. A lot of breeders do, because hitting super motleys is kind of low, but it's kind of like you're not supposed to, though. No, so if I do have two female, I have a Guyana red tail, and then I have a Suriname red tail, and then I have a locality Argentine, and I would never mix any type of blood with any of those. Somebody was talking to me on I don't know if it was on YouTube or if it was on Instagram, that somebody just bought an Argentine that was mixed with an IMG boa. So it's like an IMG Argentine. I was like, that'd be cool, but I just wouldn't mix. I wouldn't mix the bloodline. There's no reason to. Um, it is tough to find full adult boas, especially on the internet. You can find them on Google and stuff, and you can see like breeders if you look them up on YouTube and stuff. But a lot of, I don't know, the internet's a kind of a not the greatest place to post adult boas, because people judge you all the time on how you feed them and how big they are and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people just don't post full grown boas on like Facebook and stuff, because they just don't want the drama. Anery, I don't know if Anery's brown out. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. A lot of snakes do dull out and they do turn kind of brownish. So you really have to look into, um, I don't know who the best people are to look at adult females. I know Dave Palumbo, he shows a lot of his adults, and you can probably try to figure out if he has one that you want. But the ghosts stay very light in color, so they don't really dull out because there's really nothing for them to dull out on. They really stay that brown. I mean, they have the natural brown color, but it's like mine's 4 years old and she still looks really good. But there's her. I'll show you guys. So here's the IMG VPI, and she's gotten a lot darker since I've gotten her. I have no idea what an adult VPI IMG looks like, but she's very, very dark. Her tail, as you can see, is still very pretty red and has a lot of nice colors in her, but the top and her sides have really gotten almost black, which is awesome. So I got her and the VPI Aztec from Chinatown, and they're sisters. So she will throw an attitude a little bit, but not not like her sister. So we can see her tail a little bit better right there, which I don't know. I don't know what I want to put with her. I might get an IMG, or sorry, I might get a VPI Aztec, a male, another one. But I don't know. Any VPI would be really cool with her. But again, it's another 4 years for her because she was born. She's actually a pretty big girl. She was born this year, in the springtime. Yeah, VPI it's a really nice gene, and I can see why it's a pretty nice dollar to pay on them. I do have a Burmese. It's a pearl. She is in her cage right now. I can get her out too if you guys want. The dwarf species. I really haven't seen or looked too much into the dwarf stuff, but if you guys want to see, does somebody want to see the? Oh yeah, the Aztec. All right, we can go see the Aztec. We'll see how she is. There, you can see her tail right there. So when she's in shed, she'll strike and stuff and does not want to be bothered at all. And then I have the VPI jungle. That's a baby. I'm really curious on how she's going to age as well. But I think you're right. I think anything VPI will keep its color. Oh yeah, the basic VPIs look amazing. What is that? RTL? I don't know what that is. I have no idea. So we'll put her back. And we'll move these out of the way. Got a bunch of ball pythons on the ground, and I'm wearing a John Chosmer t-shirt, purple skull logo on the front. Roswell ladder. No. I don't have any ladder tails. They do look nice. I do like those. So I have to watch what I buy on the Boas stuff. I love Boas so much. I mean, I'm really getting into the ball python stuff, but the Boas are definitely my passion. And I don't have a big room. When all of these females get up to size, it's gonna. I don't know where I'm gonna put them. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with them, honestly. So yeah, I buy a lot of stuff on Morph Market, and I live like 20 minutes away from John Chosmer, so I just go to his house and buy all my rats, and I buy a ton of snakes from him. He has a lot of cool stuff. So I've got stuff from Chi-Town, and then I got stuff from Justin Kobolka, Will Banks, and who else did I get stuff from? Ball Pythons 101. He's local to me too. He has got a lot of good stuff. Pet stores, I would stay away from pet stores personally, just because they have a high markup. A lot of times on Morph Market, you can wheel and deal with people, and then sometimes you can try to get free shipping or have like a set price with free shipping and stuff like that. So Morph Market is really good, and all the top breeders are on there, and they will work with you. Yeah, Chi-Town. I bought the IMG VPI and the VPI Aztec from Chi-Town, and other than the little attitude on the VPI Aztec, the Aztec, he was easy to work with him, and I know he's up there in the boa game. He's got a ton of nice stuff. I just picked up my Burmese. Nice. What morph on Burmese? Hognoses seem pretty cool. Yeah, hognoses are awesome. I really like hogs too. I'm not sure what the banana black pastels go for. 700, that seems pretty high, but again, I don't know. I would look on Morph Market and see what the going rate is from breeders, because let's just say a breeder has it for 500 and they want $60 for shipping. The majority of the time they'll do 500 with shipping. So, because a lot of these breeders have hundreds of snakes that they're trying to unload for money, obviously, and because they don't want to clean them and feed them anymore. But that seems kind of like a lot. I don't know though, because I don't even think a banana clown doesn't even cost $700. So My berm is over there in the green lid tub. So I feed him every 2 weeks, and I'm just now bumping his food up. So he's almost 2, and feeding him small to medium rats, which is kind of a lot. A normal het granite, nice. I really like the normal wild type looking berms. They're really nice. A lot nicer than normal ball pythons or normal boas. Even though normal boas are cool, don't get me wrong, I have one and I really like it. But the normal boa or berms look awesome. So Mystic Potion. So that's my next one I want to get. I'm going to get a male Mystic, and I'm going to try to pair it with my Super Mojave. I've had all my ball pythons for the last year have never gone off food unless they're in shed. 99% of the time, if you have a snake or a ball python that goes off food, unless you're breeding it, there's something wrong with your humidity or your heat, or it's stressed or something's going on, because naturally they're not going to go off of food unless it's, I mean, some adults do. I heard like some ball pythons go off food when they're around 1,000 grams on weight, which is kind of like the breeder size. So if it's a baby, you know, you can just, and I mean, it looks bad, but you can honestly, and this looks like a mess because I just took them all out to show you guys, but you can just literally buy just one of these and then buy a $8 bin or a hide. And I've never had a snake refuse food, but I feed live. So a lot of times baby ball pythons will only eat live, and some adults will only eat live too, but I wouldn't worry about it. If you get your setup correctly, they'll eat. But boas, I mean, I have never heard of a boa go off of food or not want to eat unless it's dying. So boas love food, berms love food, and stuff like that. But you shouldn't worry about a ball python not going off of food. So I get a lot of mixed reviews or a lot of mixed stuff about the anacondas when they get to be adults. So I've been talking to some people who actually have adult anacondas and breed adult anacondas. And I don't know if it's different because they breed them and it hurts their growth, but some people have a full adults that are 15, 16 feet, and that's kind of like the max length. I mean, they might hit 17 or 18, but anacondas generally do not go 20 feet or more. And so there's a lot of false information out there on anacondas. There's a lot of bad information out there on anacondas. But basically anybody who I've talked to who breeds them, who has adult females, they're around 15, 16-ish feet. And they feed them just huge rabbits. Some feed them every 3-4 months. Some feed them 4 times a year. Some feed them baby goats or small pigs. But in reality, you don't need to feed them, you know, massive pigs every 2 weeks, which is what a lot of these YouTubers do. And I'm not naming any names, but a lot of these people want big snakes really fast. And so they feed these anacondas and retics and berms tons of meals for views on social media. And obviously big snakes get the views, so people want massive snakes really fast, and then they have heart failure and liver failure, and they just store a ton of fat in them, and then they die at an early age, which sucks because, you know, you can have a good sized anaconda at 16 feet at 100 pounds or 120 pounds, and people want to pump food into them every 4 weeks just to get the views. And it's just like, if you have an anaconda that's 200 pounds and it looks like a ball of fat, it's just fat. Yeah, I'm no names, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not here to judge if they want to feed their snakes like that. that's on them. I'm just not going to do that. And it is all about it. It is because no names, like even an anaconda at 13 feet could eat one meal every 3 months. It doesn't need a pig, an oversized pig that takes an hour to eat every 3 weeks. So, I mean, it is what it is, though. It gets views, it gets them money, and that's what they want. So, mine's 2, and she just hit 5 feet. Just like my berm uses 2, and she's still like 4 feet. I see people on Facebook who have 1-year-old Burmese that's at like 13 feet. So, yeah, it's just, I mean, people ask me what's the growth rate on an anaconda and on a Burmese, and I just tell them it's all on how you feed them. You can have an anaconda or a Burmese or a retic at 13 feet in a year if you pound them with food, or you can have a 2-year-old Burm at 4 feet looking good and not having any issues. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, why would you want to pump your snake full of food so it dies in 8 years, 10 years? I don't know. But it's all about the money. Yeah, so I really I've been looking at super dwarfs, but I kind of got to watch what I'm doing right now because I got a ton of snakes around here and more over there, and I just don't have the room. So, I mean, I know super dwarfs stay like 10 feet-ish, so it's really not that bad. And most retics and dwarf retics, they're not big-bodied animals, so they don't need that much food, which would be awesome. And then the purple and yellow ones are really, really nice. But there's no way I would get a full-size mainland retic. I just couldn't do it because I follow who is it? Wildfire Retics on Instagram, and he's got all full-size retics, and they are massive. And he does feed them goats, which I don't even know where I would get a goat or how much a goat is. But I mean, if you have a 22-foot snake, I think you can feed it goats every 6 months, and they're perfectly fine. But one of I don't know if I can pull this and show you guys some of the snakes. Where do you get your large enclosures from? Not the tubs. So these black ones, and it's kind of weird to do or hold it. So these black ones right here, I got at a local reptile show, and they're like $150. And I know they're not ideal. Like, people still hate on me for having them because they're 4x20 by 2. They're not a real 4x2, but honestly, a full boa, an adult, well-fed boa can fit in a 4x2 its whole life. And a lot of people think that they shouldn't, which, it's just all personal preference. If they get too crammed, then I understand that. This whole thing now that an adult boa needs an 8-foot cage is beyond ridiculous. Like, I do not think an adult, because it might be hard to see, but this bottom one, this white one, I built that's almost 9 feet. It's 3 feet deep and 2 feet high, and I mean, there's no way an adult boa needs that. I mean, most breeders, and I hate to say breeders because most of them don't have the best lifestyle for snakes. But I mean, most breeders do care about their animals, and most breeders keep their berms and anacondas full size in a 8x2 and an 8x3. So, anacondas don't get 30 feet. They don't get up to 500 pounds like Google says, and they're very manageable. They get huge, don't get me wrong, but you have to be careful with them, obviously. I saw that I saw that podcast in that guy's snake that died. But the thing that was really interesting about that was he says he killed it with love, but I believe he said that the berm was like 20 some years old, or 20, 22 years old. And that's really old for a snake. I think most snakes in captivity live around 20 to 25 years. So that's really not that bad. And even if it was obese, I mean, if it died at like 10 or 15, yeah, I mean, you can obviously put a boa in a 9-foot cage. I'm sure it would enjoy it, but it doesn't need it. But again, I mean, it's hard to say, because like if you want your snake to be a 9-foot enclosure, by all means, put a boa in a 9-foot enclosure. It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to mess it up. I would not put a ball python in a 9-foot cage. I wouldn't do that, because if you put a hide in there, all it's going to do is stay in the hide, pretty much, probably. But bigger the better on the cages. Is it necessary? Probably not for the life of it. No. If I had a snake that lived 20 years, I would be super excited. Nice. Garters are cool. Now, I've heard, I could be wrong, that garter snakes are mildly venomous or mildly poisonous. I could be wrong, though. Kind of like the hogs. But because they eat frogs, they have to kind of inject them a little bit. So my anaconda is out and about. I don't think this cord's going to go. Or if you guys can see that. So she's going to the back. So I don't know if you guys could really see her very well. But I'll get the berm out real quick just so you guys can see her and how she looks at 2. Now, I am going to feed her tomorrow. She shed out, I think, last week, and she had a really big poop. So she's a little, so I had to clean out everything. I had to take the whole cage outside and hose it down and everything. So it was kind of a mess. But I'll get her out. So she is still kind of jumpy and hisses a lot when I try to take her out. But I've worked a lot with her since I've got her as a baby, and we're making progress. So I have her as a project, my VPI Aztec as a project, and my Argentine is definitely a project. So this is the Pearl hypo and albino mix. She's supposed to be heck for green granite, but I'm not gonna trust that. Garter's, I believe they're mildly venomous. Yeah, that's what I've kind of heard. So she's kind of agitated. I don't know why, but try to calm her down a little bit. So she was born very, very late, either November or December of 2019. So for female, she's not massive. And so it's kind of like when people say, what's the growth rate on a berm? It's like, well, you can have almost 2-year-old berm at this size, or if you've, shove large rats down its throat every week, you'll have a 12-foot Burmese. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Do you want a big snake super fast to impress people on the internet, or do you want a healthy snake that is going to last you a decent while? So, and she's all nasty and dirty because I'm using actual like yard mulch in her enclosure. It's 100% pure cypress mulch, so I get a full bag of it for $3, which is the same size of a bag as Repti Chip for $20. So she's, I keep all my bigger snakes in the yard mulch. I really wish I could put the smaller snakes in there, but they're really big chunks of bark, and I just don't want anything to happen to the smaller snakes with it. So, hey, what's up, man? Yep, Peaches hanging out for a little bit, and the only thing that I will say is that on the yard mulch is that there are bugs. I don't know what kind of bugs, but there's bugs in there. I don't think they would hurt the snakes, but it's just annoying that sometimes you see flies or bugs or whatever crawling around. But apparently somebody said that the bugs that come in the mulch are good for it. Or not good, but it's not going to hurt it, or it's better for your enclosure. They can like clean stuff up. So she's going to get a small-ish, medium-ish size rat tomorrow, and I got to feed the Anaconda tomorrow. And then my other Anaconda, the smaller one, is in shed. And luckily, she is on rats. Finally got her on rats. It's a struggle. A whole year. Finally got her. They love their birds, though, that's for sure. I should Photoshop this girl right here eating a deer. I already get a lot of hate on my YouTube and my Instagram. So what's a little bit more? That would be funny though. I don't know what she's doing. Feels like she's trying to poop on me. But I've been kind of trying to figure out what makes the ivories, because I would not mind an ivory berm and trying to make more. But again, breeding is not like, you have to be dedicated to breeding, and there's so many people out there that scam you and try to steal from you. It's just sometimes it doesn't even seem like it's worth it. So we'll put her back. And then we can see the smallest I own. So it's always weird handling the bigger snakes and then taking her out, because I always feel like I'm going to squish her. And then she's super fast, so I don't want to lose her either. So my female black Mexican king. And unfortunately, last year I bought a pair of these, but the male died randomly. I don't know why, but she's doing well. This is probably my dream snake right here. Out of all the snakes that I have, I love these. Jet black, no markings, super cool. I'm really excited for her to get bigger as well too. All right, we'll see the one that hates me. We'll move the whole computer over there. We'll see how her temperament is. I'm surprised she's not throwing a fit right now. So we'll see how she is. Hello, there she is. We'll try to get the light on her. I mean, she's a really nice looking snake. Oh, there we go. Unicorn snake a pig. That'd be funny. And if everybody would click on the video and then get mad and then give me a bunch of thumbs downs. So we're getting better. I'll say that. But it's going to take some time, which is fine, I guess. So she gets a little stressed. Nothing too crazy, though. And I have to clean her cage out. But she went in the shed a couple days ago, and so she should be shedding out sometime this week. And then once she gets a little bit bigger, I have to move her out of there and into a real cage. Then we have the lesser, or a butter. So I don't know if they're exactly the same thing. I heard they are. Clown. So getting up nice to size. And she's faded out a little bit. I'm assuming she's going to fade out a lot more as she gets older. Lose a lot of the yellow in her. And then this brown will probably fade out and just kind of blend in with her body tone, which kind of sucks. But they all do that, so it is what it is. Oh, I'll show you guys the new black pastel that I got. So we'll see what's in the box. Then I have to feed all my ball pythons later. So this one's basically almost all white, except for just the head, which is pretty typical for the black pastels. So really cool. So this is the second black pastel that I have, both females. I don't know, and I said this earlier, I don't know if I want to try to go for the panda or not, because there's so many bad things that happen with the pandas that I don't even know if it's worth it. And then this is the other black pastel that I have, and she was all white too. And then as she's getting older, these spots started showing up on her, and she just gets more and more black spots, which is really cool. So I'm hoping the other one will do that as well. And then I have a male that I'll put to her next year. So that'll be kind of exciting. A house centipede. I get them sometimes, but I don't know if those are the fuzzy ones that eat all the spiders or not. I got a lot of the bigger snakes are in shed, so I don't really want to mess around with them too much. And I just don't know what would go with this girl right here. So this is that ivory, and she pied. If you guys are just jumping in, saw it on the last video. Pretty cool looking. Definitely will lose its colors at some point, which sucks. But I need to look into getting another rack system or something. I really don't want another ARS, but might have to. Whoa. I'll show you guys the mail that I have up here. Show you guys these real quick. Hey, what's going on, man? How's your guys' Saturday night going? So this is my yellow belly Enchi pied. So this one should keep some of its color as it gets older. And it's female, so got a little bit of time for that. Pastel Desert Ghost. Yeah, I like the Desert Ghost stuff. They're so expensive. Even the head stuff's a lot of money. Then I was seeing the pied clowns. Just a regular pied clown for male, it's like $4,000. Superfly clown, which is really cool, but it sucks because the patterns will fade away. Even though it has fire in it, the yellow will fade. They look really nice though as adults, or I mean as babies. And it just sucks that, I don't know. I like fire, but if you mix fire, you just get all white snakes, which kind of sucks. Because then you have no idea what is in it, and then everything's a possibility of what you paired it to. So, I mean, Justin Kabolka can sell them in a heartbeat. But yeah, I really like the Brazilian rainbows. They're really nice. I used to have one, but it was just like, it was like 3 years ago, I think. I had it as a baby. It was like 2 years old, and it was just nasty. It was super mean. Tried to work with it, and I couldn't. And then I just sold it to a local breeder, and now it's making babies. But they are nice. The value has gone up on those a little bit, but they're really nice. And then you can get like the bright red ones. But let's see, Suriname. Yeah. I'll get them out. Panopide. Yeah, Panopides are awesome. They're really expensive. I want one. I want to try to make them. But again, is it worth trying to make a snake where it's going to have shark jaw or kinks in its body, or just not even make it? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. So look at this one first. It's not the Suriname, but it is the Guyana. So true blood was told a Guyana, but I think those two areas are like super close together. And so if they're imported, I don't know if they really know exactly like what's what, but she is, I don't know if she's going to get any bigger. She had issues from the beginning on eating, throwing up all the time, wouldn't keep food down, and then she's fine now, but she's a 2017, so I don't know, she might have lost her growth, but she still eats awesome. She still sheds all the time. Yeah, her tail seems like it gets brighter and brighter every time I see her, but really nice tail on her, and I like her markings a lot. So I would love to get a male for her, but of course, if she doesn't get any bigger, she'll never be able to breed. which sucks. But it's just a really cool pet to have because it's a locality animal, and I think everybody should have at least one locality. And then so I have her, and then the Suriname. So I mean, the Suriname's not as nice as this one, but it's still cool though. VPI Snow. Oh yeah, yeah. Those are expensive and a little bit difficult to make if you want to make them on your own. But then you always have to go into it takes 4 years for a female to get up to size. So you're basically just paying for the time not to have to wait 8 years to try to make your own. Max Pinks, yeah, I want one really bad. I know a guy locally that got one, and he was on a waiting list to try to buy it. But really cool patterns down the saddle on this one, if you guys can see it. So we'll look at the Suriname now. And again, the Suriname's small too. So I know the true red tails do take a little bit of time to get up to size, but they have the potential to get bigger than the commons. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a male, but I really like the Peruvian red tails, and they are hard to find and very, very expensive. I think Justin, is his name Justin? I don't know where I'm getting Justin from. I don't have to get back to you on the actual guy's name or his business. I follow him all the time, and I can't think of it right now. But he does deal with Peruvians, and they're like, I think they're like $1,000, $1,200. Definitely worth it, I would say, but they're just expensive because they're really, really nice. Yeah, she's gotten a lot better. She's a fighter though. She's all beat up. She's got some war wounds on her. So her tail got jacked up from when she was a baby from a previous owner. Right here was eaten by a mouse or a rat. And then when I had her in my care, she was in a tub, and I've never had a snake do this except for her. She was rubbing at the top of the tub on her eyes. I don't know if you guys can really see it. I don't want to bother her too much. But right above her eyes, she's got some scars on her. But she eats all the time. She sheds. She's nice. I don't know. Really nice animal, though. I don't have any issues with her. I mean, you can pick one of these up for $300-400, so they're not too expensive. Yeah, yeah. The Peruvians are. I mean, just the colors on them are way nicer. Better tail, better patterns, better saddles. Everything on them is way better. So I can see why they're more than a Suriname or a Guyana. But if you guys look at, I think it's Widow's Peak. That guy has some ridiculously nice Surinames, and they're in the thousands of dollars. But if you go to a basic like reptile show or whatever, you can pick one of these up for $300-400, which isn't bad for a really nice locality. And I've seen people try to mix different genes and stuff with true red tails, and they sell for less than just a regular what a red tail does, because nobody wants them. Muddies the water, they say. And then, so the one thing that sucks about these rack systems is that the smaller ones can slip above the tub in the next row, and then you got to pull the tub out, and then they go straight to the back where the heat panel is. So this is, whoa, there's a little he, the male Motley IMG, which is very, very slowly changing its colors. Eats very well, but we'll see what he looks like in probably 4 or 6 months. So tail has gotten darker, a lot darker since I've gotten him. A lot more darkish colors on the head. We'll see the progress on this guy right here. So I don't know. Hopefully he turns all black. Yeah, my credit card has taken a huge hit. Let's just say that. But it's definitely worth it. Brian's Boas. I haven't really seen anything from him on Morph Market, I don't think. But trying to get some quality animals in here. If I do breed, I'd rather have quality than quantity. So some of these ball pythons that I just got were, not cheap for one, but I would think in the long run, breeding, 1 or 2 or 4 expensive ones is better than breeding 30, $300 snakes because of the feeding and the housing and the cleaning and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've never bred. So if it's a mistake, then I'll know very quickly. How many male boas do I have? 2. So slacking big time on the boas. I can't really do much with 2. I do have the snow, and then the IMG Motley, which the IMG Motley could go to a few things, but I can't really do very much with just two males. So unlike the ball pythons, a male ball python can breed multiple times a season with the same female or multiple females and be somewhat fine. But if you try to breed a boa, he'll die. So it sucks. I do have a female motley, normal motley, but you can't really do the motley to motley thing. Although a lot of breeders do. If it's like a multi-gene snake with a multi-gene snake and they both have motley in them, I do know some breeders will quietly breed them together and hope they don't hit on the super motleys. But you're not supposed to. And some people do it with spiders too. They put spider to spider and they just hope that they miss on the super spiders, on the ball pythons. But we'll see how this one looks in 6 months. Hopefully all black. This is female. It's a jungle hypo. It's supposed to have pastel in it. And then I would not mind putting the IMG Motley into this at all. I think that would be a really cool combination and get a lot of awesome genes out of her. So she's still 3 years away, which sucks on the boas, which is kind of why I think they're so expensive, because they don't have a turnaround like the ball pythons. Ball pythons, you can breed a female in 2 years, every single year back to back. If you, most of the time you try to breed a boa back to back, the females will just die. So Facebook, all right, I'll look at him and see what he has in localities and prices, because I need more males. But yeah, she is, and I don't know why. She's a 2019, and I honestly think I underfeed a lot of my boas unintentionally, because my 2021, the IMG VPI is bigger than she is. But I think a lot of these breeders feed them large mice as they're born, and I'm feeding them as they're smaller, like hopper mice, while they're feeding them adult mice. So those kind of get me a little bit nervous when they're babies, because they have weak stomachs and they can regurgitate pretty easily. So I like to feed them smaller meals just personally, but if it takes them an extra year to get up to the normal size, then it doesn't bother me at all, because I'm not a breeder. I don't need her to be up to size in 3.5 years or 4 years. I mean, it would be nice, but I'd rather not take the risk of snakes regurgitating. But yeah, she's pretty small. Because here, I'll just show you for comparison. So 2009, 2020. So pretty big difference. But she's eating. She's been on large mice for a very, very long time. Well, I can feed her a rat pup and she'll shed every month, but it doesn't seem like she really puts any size on, and I really don't know why. She looks good though. I love her colors. Hope she doesn't fade out though. I'm sure she will a little bit. But I think adding Motley IMG to her would be awesome. And then hopefully we hit on the IMG. We'll get Hypo, Jungle, and Motley, and IMG. So I think that would be a really cool pairing to do in the future. So on the male, let me put her back. So I do want to get a male. I would love to breed anacondas. So I have the 2 females, and all I need is a male. And Pop-Tart is over here, 2019. She's right there. So she still has a couple years, probably 3. And the person who bought Pop-Tart's litter mate messaged me and said, hey, we're having such and such going on. Do you want to buy the male? And I go, I do want the male because it'd be cool to have the litter mate of Pop-Tart, and then I'd have 2 females for the 1 male, so I can cycle them every other year, just to give them the time that they need to recover and stuff like that. So the only thing that bothers me though is that it's 2019. It's very small, doesn't eat well, which is common for the greens. But I don't know what they're trying to feed it or how they're feeding it. And it just makes me nervous bringing a 2019 snake in when I can just buy a 2021 for a couple $100 more. And I know the health and the environment that it was in. So not saying anything bad about the person that owns it. It just makes me nervous buying older snakes and bringing them in and trying to take care of them. But that's just me. So that's why I buy all of my snakes as babies, because when you buy them at 2 months, they're not in a bad living situation for very long. So, but I would love to have a male green anaconda, but it just makes me nervous because the people who have that male is only 2 hours away, and it's a good price for a male. It's not the full price that people are selling males for. And at 2019 it is breeder size ready, or it's breeder age ready, but since it's small, it just makes me nervous. But I don't know, it's just kind of like, should I just go with it, or do I not go with it? Like something's kind of stopping me, and I don't know why. So it's either gut instinct or I don't know. I just can't I just can't explain it. But I mean, I don't know. It's just a tough decision, because they say it's not very nice. Like I said, it doesn't eat well. I mean, Mountain Dew over here was on birds, up until 2 weeks ago, really. So I understand the poor eating, but I mean, I can deal with poor eating anacondas because I dealt with 2 of them. But I mean, if it's in a bad living environment and I bring it in here, I don't want to pay $1,000 for a male and then have it die in a month because it was not in the greatest living situation. But I don't know what to do. Because, I mean, I can find a male not from Megan or Nerd for, $1,200, and these people are selling it for $900, and it's kind of like, I took Mountain Dew to the vet, and it was $150 to get her on medicine, and then it's like, do I really want to take another anaconda to a vet? Do I really want an anaconda to die if it's, a year old, 2 years old, or do I just buy a new one for an extra $300 and it's only a couple months old? And then I just go through the cycle over and over again because I know it's going to suck at eating. And I got to feed it birds for who knows how long, and it's going to bite me, and then I got to deal with that again. So it's like, I know I do want to go with my gut. My gut's telling me no, but I really want a male. I really, really want a male because at breeder size, 18 months to 24 months on a green, I believe Megan is selling her male greens for like $1,500 to $1,800. I'm not saying that's not a good price. I'm not saying anything, but to me, that's kind of expensive when you can just go find Joe Schmo, not as big of a breeder, and pay $1,000. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I bought both of these greens females for $900, and there were nobody knows who they are. Like, they're not big breeders, and that I didn't have any issues with them except for Mountain Dew over there, which almost died once. So sucks. And I'll take her out, but I don't know how she is in shed. I really don't mess with her too much. So it's like, do I pay the $900 on a snake that's 2 years old that I don't know the living conditions, or do I just buy brand new for $1,300? I don't know. Because I don't need a breeder size male because I still have 3 years on the anacondas. And the older they are, and the bigger they are, the more babies that they'll give you. So, I mean, not that I need 15 or 20 grand anacondas, because again, I'm a nobody. So me trying to sell all these greens is probably not going to work very well. And I know I'm going to get stuck with all these green anacondas that either don't want to eat or they're just going to eat birds. And it's aggravating. Well worth it, though. I will say the time that I put into Pop-Tart and Mountain Dew was well worth it. Very stressful. Very stressful. I appreciate the support on the channel. So Pop-Tart is kind of cruising a little bit towards the front of the cage. And if he comes towards the front of the glass, I'll take him out. Her out. Sorry. I'll take her out. So I'll open the glass and see what she does. So if she comes on out, you guys can see her. So I asked about the living conditions and the diet, and they just say it doesn't eat well. Like, it's not on rats, it's not on rodents, it's on birds, and they can't really eat it. They get to eat birds. And I was like, well, that's fine, because I've been through that 2 times already. And having a stubborn eating anaconda is not a big deal to me. It's just time, and it's something that I enjoy. So it's not a big deal. Like, I don't mind messing around with a picky eater. But the living conditions, they sent me a picture, and it's in like, again, I'm not judging, but it's in like topsoil, dirt. So I don't know. It just makes me nervous. And from the picture, it's in a rack system like this, and you can see the water bowl, and to what the water bowl looks like, to the size of the animal, 2019 looks smaller than my 2020 female green. So picky eater, I understand it's going to be smaller, but I don't know. Something is holding me back, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying at all I have the best living conditions at all, because I probably don't. But when you see a snake in topsoil, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Makes me nervous. But again, it could be a great snake, and I just have to work with it. And I've worked with both of mine. I work with them constantly, multiple times a week, and it's been rewarding, and it's been worth it. I could save the snake's life. I could, but I could also pay $900 and it dies in 2 weeks. And then I have a snake that died in my care, which I don't want. So catch 22. Three snakes in my collection. Ooh, that's tough. Definitely Pop-Tart. She's my favorite. I won't lie. I spoil her. I'd have to keep one of the IMG boas, and I don't know. Probably the berm. Definitely. Well, I don't know. I mean, I really like the Argentine boa, and I really like the ghost boa too. It's tough. Really tough. But Pop-Tart's number one for sure. I'm gonna get her out. If you guys can hang tight, she's all the way back in the cage, so I got to crawl 3 feet into the cage and try to get her out. So bear with me, and I'll be back. All right. That was a little fight, but she doesn't strike, but she'll put up a little bit of a fight. Yeah, the black king snake's like my dream snake, but I don't know. Like I can't pick. I like them all. It just depends on the day. It depends on how I'm feeling with them. Depends on their mood with me. The ghost the ghost is really good. I just think I like the ghost just because it seems like it's an underrated boa, because it's not super flashy. It's not an IMG. It's not a VPI. It's just a really good looking snake. Did Ice Cube die in that movie? I don't remember. So I think she's longer than the normal, but the normal is a little bit thicker. Is that the movie? I thought I saw a meme or something that said like that's the only movie he didn't die in. I don't know, but I'm surprised he didn't die. I know a lot of people did die. That movie right there, that movie ruined this snake forever. That was the ultimate. That was the worst movie of information on an anaconda, and people still believe anacondas get 40 feet long and they eat people. So she's Yeah, she's definitely longer than my normal, I think. I don't know. It's tough. I would like to take like 2 bigger snakes out at once, but just I don't think it would be I think I could handle that. Having one out's enough to try to handle. Because I'll try to put them next to each other. I have that movie and I still haven't watched it in a long time. I don't even know who exactly who's in it. But she's definitely going to be a handful here in the next year. Yeah, I remember that part. That was funny. Straight swallowed up. I don't know. Did any of you guys see the documentary on I think it was the Discovery Channel, where the guy made this suit and he went down to South America and he tried to get an anaconda to eat him, and he put like pig's blood all over him to prove that his suit was like made so snakes couldn't eat him. And through the whole time, they're like pestering these anacondas to get eaten, and like none of them wanted to eat him at all. Yeah, I don't understand why people. I mean, I understand that they need water, but I don't know why people overlook anacondas more. You know what I mean? Like people are more willing to buy a mainland retic that gets 20 some feet and berms that get 16 feet and weigh a lot, and then they overlook the anacondas. I mean, both retics and berms live in heavy water basin areas, so I don't know. I don't know why people overlook anacondas unless it's misinformation. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying an anaconda can't hit 500 pounds. That's like saying, I mean, I guess it's kind of like saying humans get, 1,000. They can, but is it normal? No. It's not normal for a human to be 600 pounds, but they can get 600 pounds. You know what I mean? So I think, and I don't even know how they would measure an anaconda in the wild, anyways. So, I mean, most zoos that have full adult, non-breeding females, they're like 16, 17 feet. And I think they weigh like 150 pounds, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of weight for an animal that's pure muscle. But, you know, if you look up Megan and her adult females, and you look up Nerd with their adult females, and you look up Fisher reptiles with his adult females, they're all like 14, 15, 16 feet, and they're probably 100 to 150 pounds just because, I'm not saying they underfeed them, but they're not feeding them goats every six weeks or 4 weeks. But I mean, I'm not saying jays are not 300 pounds. But I mean, some of these YouTubers, they feed, like we said earlier, they feed them too much. So, and then on record, there's still a bounty out since Roosevelt was in office for anybody that can provide actual real proof of a snake that hit 30 feet or more. And I think Brian Barczyk, I mean, he even made a video on it. I think there's $100,000 bounty right now that anybody that can prove that they have a snake over 30 feet, they get cash, 100 grand cash, and nobody has collected the money. A bunch of people have claimed that they've had 30-foot retics, but when they go to get on size, they're like 24, 25 feet. I mean, photos can be altered, photos can be zoomed in, photos can be, I mean, anything. Because I mean, I'm not saying they don't get big. I mean, they get massive. I mean, 16 feet at 150, 200 pounds, that's a lot. That's a big animal. I mean, they have bigger prey in the Amazon to eat, but I mean, 500 pounds, that's the size of a bear. You know what I mean? Like, that's 500 pounds is a lot. That's a lot for a snake when it's just, they don't hold that much fat. Now, retics top out at like 23 or 24 feet. Like, I mean, there's stuff on the internet that's been, where people say that they have 30, 40-foot retics, and then they've never been measured, they've never been scientifically proven or anything like that. But I mean, people argue all the time, what are you gonna do with Anaconda when it gets to 40 feet? It's like, they don't get 40 feet. They don't get 40 feet. They don't get 25 feet. They don't get that big. I'm not saying there wasn't, I mean, it's like a human. He may get 1,000 pounds, but it's not common. If one of these hits 25 feet, I mean, I'm sure it can happen, but it's not common. So, I mean, that's the thing, like when somebody says 30-foot plus snakes, it's like, there's a bounty out right now. If anybody in captivity or in the wild that has a 30-foot snake, they're collecting that money. Like, there's no way nobody's not going to take 100 grand. Because I mean, even Jay has huge retics, massive retics, and none of those are 30 feet. They're probably 20. I mean, 20 is huge. 20 feet's, probably the size of a regular electrical pole outside. I mean, I don't know how big a giraffe is, but I think a giraffe's 20 feet. I don't know. I don't know how big males get. I think they can, like Nerd did a whole video on anacondas, and he was saying males can be 10 to 13 feet. So I mean, I don't know. But again, I think it all depends on how you feed them. Because if you're pumping them with food, you're going to get a 250 pound snake that's pure fat, and then it's going to have health issues, and then it's just going to be a bad life for them. But I mean, I think if you feed them regularly and what they're supposed to feed adult anacondas 4 times a year, 5 times a year, and they do just fine on, maybe a 20-pound animal or 15-pound rabbit for 4 months, 5 months. I don't know. So I don't think there's not a ton of people that work with anacondas, and the people who do work with them, I think they don't like to share a lot of information about them, especially the breeding side of it. But I mean, like I said, you can look up Megan and Nerd, and because I think one of Megan's females is, I think she said it's like 10 or 12 years old, and it's only like 13 feet. So I don't know. I mean, it's just like the information that's out there seems like it's interesting, because again, you can look in, there's no actual report documented report of a grand anaconda eating anybody. Documented. I mean, I can't say that it hasn't happened in, deep in the jungles, but on documentation, on death reports, there's nothing. But you can see, I hold her a lot, but you saw how some of those boas acted, and it's like they want to kill me. People say, "Oh, grand anacondas will eat you, they'll bite you, they'll do all this stuff like they're blood hungry for humans," and it's like I got a boa constrictor that'll bite me. I had my Argentine bite me the other week. I haven't had her bite me once at all. I don't know how an anaconda would eat a child. You know what I mean? Like, it's not in their diet, their natural diet. They eat birds and fish. She barely. It took a year for that one to eat a rat. I just personally don't believe the stories and the myths on anacondas eating children, because they would have to have a reason to eat them. They would have to want that. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those, it's like an urban legend type of thing, because snakes don't go out of their way in the human population to eat humans. They're afraid of humans, you know what I mean? And they want to get away from humans and hide from them. I can't see a big anaconda just strolling through a populated area, a camp, hunting humans. But that's like the biggest topics that I run into on people on the internet or on forums and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, I'll get an anaconda. Like the anaconda, like I really want her to be a good educational snake and prove to people that they're not out to kill you. They're not out to hurt you. They can be docile. They can be very nice. You just have to work with them. And I'm not saying that, there's risks, because there are risks to owning big snakes, and they can be fatal, and they can definitely hurt you if you're not careful. And I think I read in an article that since the 1970s till I think it was 2016 or 15, that I think there's only been 17 deaths nationwide in the U.S. On big constrictors killing people, not eating them, just killing them, because they wrap themselves around and they get constricted and then they die, or some fluke thing happens. But people get mauled by dogs every day. Kids get mauled and killed by dogs every day in the U.S. So it's like, people don't throw fits about that, but they want to throw a fit about a snake. So I think I'll take my chances with one death for every 5 years on a snake then, and that's non-venomous, obviously, but just gotta have good ambassador snakes for people, and then they can learn, face their fears, I guess, or educate them correctly. Which I do need a permit for her in Ohio. Any snake that's over 12 feet needs a permit. The state comes in and checks the house, checks the room, checks the enclosures. Then I have to give all my documentations to the local sheriff. Then they sign off on it. Then I get my permit, pay $150 a year, and then I can have one. So, no, I have no intentions on getting venomous. Like, I'm pretty new still on owning snakes. I've only owned snakes for about 6 years. So owning a venomous one would not be that good for me, because sometimes, not always, I forget to close some of the tubs and I come back and then I have a loose snake. But the snakes go up into the rack system where the heat is. So I'm not gonna say I don't make mistakes, but I just wouldn't want to do that with venomous. And I live in Ohio. You need a permit. You need to have a whole bunch of stuff. And in the state of Ohio, there's only 3 people that are documented with permits to own venomous. So I'd have to find one of the 3 that's willing to work with me, have my own insurance, get the hours, get the time. It takes 2 years. And they have to sign off on it, and I have to do a whole test on it. And when you first go into learning, they're gonna put you with the non-venomous snakes for X amount of months, so they can see how you handle regular snakes, and then they move you up to mild venomous and then venomous. But basically, what you're doing is you're just gonna clean snakes for the first year, and I'm not gonna go. It's not worth it to me, and it's with only 3 people in the state of Ohio, it's just kind of like not happening. There are a bunch of states that don't require any permits for anything. So, I mean, that's kind of on them. Yeah, I mean, one bite, if you survive, it's a $500,000 to $1 million hospital bill. And I do not want that. So, and then I think you have to carry anti-venom with you. So that's out of pocket on paying for that. You have to have checkups with the state. It's just too much. Like, it's too much enough to even get the permits for big snakes. I don't even want to deal with trying to get venomous. So I think in Ohio, 1 permit is good for like 5 snakes or something like that. So it will cover the 3 big snakes that I already have. Yeah, I mean, it's just like one dumb mistake, and you're either gonna die, or you're gonna have a $1 million bill from the hospital. But she's I would assume so. I would guess you can, but I've never seen anybody do that before. I think you would get hated if you bred a normal boa with a anaconda. I think people would beat you up for that. I mean, people do the yellows and the greens, which is fine, but I've never ever seen that before. You could, I'm sure you could. I mean, people breed retics with berms. People have bred berms with ball pythons. I think. I think I saw that, and it was ugly, and nobody wanted it. But I really don't know what the outcome would be. I'm sure it it happens in the wild, maybe. I don't know. Putting a retic with a retic with a berm. What are those called? A Batman? Is that what they're called? A retic in a berm? It's a bat something. I don't know if it's a Batman. And I don't know if I like them. They're expensive, but I don't know. Are you a retic? Yeah. 26. No, I'm 36. So late in the game on the snakes, but it is what it is. And in 6 years, I went from my very first king snake from PetSmart to a very bad hoarding hoarding problem with yeah. Now the tubs on the ground, they don't stay there. Um, they'll be put up. If you guys are wondering, I know some people wonder how I heat the room. I'll just explain that right now. So I have an oil heater. So the rack system does have heat panels on every level, and I don't run them very high because I run the room with an oil heater at like 20 or sorry, not 20. Uh-oh. So um, I run at like 85-ish degrees, and so that whole rack is ambient heat, and then everything else is ambient heat as well. Yeah, she's pretty mild mannered. Why didn't you buy a reticulated python? Because I don't have a need for a retic unless it's a super dwarf, which I'm kind of looking into now. They're pricey, but like a regular mainland retic, they get like 22, 24 feet, and I mean, I'm not going to house a 20-foot plus snake and house or feed. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Trying to feed a Burmese and trying to feed 2 anacondas and a bunch of boas and a bunch of ball pythons. That's a hefty bill in itself. But I don't even know how much. I don't even know how much it would cost to do an adult retic. I would assume $100 a meal, $200 a meal. I don't know. Yeah, 6 years isn't bad. Most people have been in since they were kids, or 10 years, 20 years, and they've got hundreds of snakes. But most of them are breeders, though, and I just right now it's just solely a hobby. Um, breeding, nothing wrong with breeding at all, but cousins, I don't think so. I mean, they're on a different spectrum of what they are. Like, you can't breed a python to a boa, but you can breed all pythons to pythons and boas to boas, as far as I know. So I don't think I would consider them cousins. I mean, they're the same. I don't know. I don't know scientifically what you would say, but I think like an anaconda and a regular boa would be cousins. I think that would work. I would not believe anything Google says at all about any snakes, even if it's a ball python. There you go, relatives. That's a good word to put it. Distant relatives. That's a good way to put it. Because I can see them. Yeah, I can see them being relatives. The same thing, but different bloodlines, and like the whole. They got different systems on how they work. See, who wouldn't want an anaconda? Look at this. Been chilling for like 20 minutes, not chasing it, not fighting it. She's just hanging out. I don't know why people hate on them. Probably because Google says they weigh 500 pounds and they get to be like 50 feet long, and then nobody wants them. Probably what it is, which is fine because, and they're expensive. I won't lie about that. After that new law passed in the States, I don't know where you guys are from, but about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, the government banned the importation and exportation on green anacondas. So back in the 90s, early 2000s, 80s, 70s, anytime before the ban, you could go into any pet store and get an anaconda for $50. Now, since it's banned, you have to find special breeders, and they're, you know, $900 for greens. And yeah, well, yellows, I think you can get yellows for like $600, but I mean, I would say the good old days, but I wasn't really in snakes on those. But you know, it's just at one point. So that's kind of like why the morphs and stuff are really rare on the greens in America. I know Megan and somebody else is working with the albino line on the anaconda, but somebody had the albino line before the ban. So in America, there will, I mean, if the albino line works out, you might be able to get some stuff off of that, but you won't ever have morphs like the boas or the ball pythons, unless people sneak them in. I would say that. But Burmese banned. It depends on where you live. In some states, they are banned. In some states, you need very special license for them. In some states, you don't need any license for them. So it just depends on where you live. Like Florida, they're banned unless you can prove to the government it's for education use. And I don't know if that's changed yet, but I still think you can have an educational license. But you have to prove to the state that that's what you're doing, and then you have to pay for the license. It's a mess. So if you want berms, I would not live in. I don't know if berms can be imported. I don't see there being a reason why you would import berms just because they're so popular. And you can basically buy any morph you want online, shipped in America. But I don't know if they can be imported or not. Nope, I don't play video games. I don't have the time. I'm either working my full-time job or I'm dealing with, all these crazy snakes. And I don't even have that many. I probably only have maybe high 30s, maybe 40. So I don't have that many, but it's still a lot to take care of. It's a lot to take care of with the anacondas because they poop and pee in their water every single day. And I'm not saying it's not. It's a lot of work. So I thought so too. And then I was watching Dave Palumbo's video the other night, and he was talking about how he sold off a lot of his berms and he sold off a couple of his anacondas, but he still had an anaconda, and he was talking about how he could keep the anaconda for educational purpose as long as his YouTube was educational and he opened up his facility to the public for educational use. So I don't know the gray area on that, but I know if you want to just keep it for strictly breeding and for a pet, you're not allowed to. So I think that's the main thing that they're worried about is breeders and pet ownership, which is kind of weird because the last I heard was to own a berm in Florida, you have to get it microchipped. So by law. But of course, people hide snakes from the government, and they have them and they don't know about it, which a lot of people do in Ohio as well, because they don't want to pay the $150 and they don't want the government to know about it. But people on the internet, so like some people were telling me not to get a permit. Don't let the government know that I have her, which I could do, but since I'm always on social media, if somebody thinks that this snake is 12 feet, they could call the state of Ohio on me. Then the state of Ohio comes to my house, and if they measure it, and it measures at 13 feet and I don't have a permit, they take it and then they kill it. So people on social media will call the state on you if they think you're owning something illegal. I'm not going to own an anaconda and not post it on Instagram. So it is what it is. People do hide them. People breed them and they don't tell anybody about it. But all it takes is one person to call the cops or the government on you, and done. Could be felony in some states. You could get a felony. You could get misdemeanors. You could be never allowed to own snakes or animals ever again. So definitely got to watch out for what's going on with your animals and your state laws or city laws, because I know some people have city laws that are different than what the state is. Do any of you guys own retics? I know, like, anytime I post a video or a picture of something, everybody's telling me to get retics. I don't know if you guys own retics and they're awesome pets, or if you just want to see more retic videos that people aren't posting about. Yeah, so, and that's another thing. If by some reason you lose your anaconda and your neighbor calls the cops or the government and says, why is there an anaconda in Ohio? They're going to wonder where it came from. And I'm pretty sure if you don't have a license for it, you're going to get in trouble. I mean, if you have a basement or a barn or something, and you just keep an anaconda down there and you never ever ever take it outside and you never post it on social media, I mean, you could get away with it, but that would suck. There are a lot of snakes to decide on, and morphs and everything. It's ridiculous. It's only going to get worse as time goes by because more and more stuff is starting to be produced. But you can't go wrong with really anything, even if it's a basic, just a basic snake. Can't go wrong with those. I mean, I wouldn't say there's any right or wrong snake to get. I wouldn't say there's a beginner snake to get, because people say ball pythons are beginner snakes. And if you don't have it set up right, your snake doesn't eat for 3 months and then it dies. Yeah, African rocks can be a little mean. And Africans get big. They're definitely on the big snake list. I've seen people own gaboons as their first snake with no permits. I don't know if they're still alive, but I saw people on Instagram just buying a gaboon viper in Michigan and West Virginia. They don't need any type of permit at all. You can go and buy whatever you want. But you can probably buy a crocodile if you want to, or an alligator. If you want your first snake to be an anaconda, so be it. I mean, she's 2 years old, good size, perfect temperament. I don't know. I'd say they're both equally as big. I mean, they both can get 16, 17, 18 feet. They can both weigh 200 pounds. I don't know too many people that own African rocks though. I know they can be very, very bitey. Yeah, I mean you can't go wrong with an Argentine. They're pretty expensive right now and hard to find. Locality, Suriname, Guyanas, stuff like that. I think even I don't really know all of the localities. I think the Hog Islands. I think those are good boas. I don't own them. I don't think I would own them, but I think they stay smaller than normal boas. I think the adults are like, I don't know, 8 feet instead of 10 feet. I mean, it's really not that big of a difference. What's another 2 feet? Um, as babies, I've noticed the red tails have a little bit of a weaker stomach, so you just have to watch the size of the prey. But if you're feeding them mice, you'll be fine. So I feed all of my boas 6 feet on hogs. Okay, 6 feet. So 6 feet to 10 feet. That's a good difference. I wouldn't mind. I mean, if you want a smaller boa, then 6 feet's perfectly fine. I feed all my boas for the first year, for a year and a half, mice, and then after that, I bumped them up to rat pups. So I just noticed because I tried to give a rat pup too early to a few of my boas, and they regurgitate. So I just stick with mice, and I haven't had any issues. Central American, I don't I don't think I've seen too many of those. Yeah, 5 or 6 feet. That's a that's a good size for a boa, if you don't want a normal big one. But yeah, I mean you have to remember too. Like they don't get 10 feet in a year. Like they take 4, 5, 6 years to get 10 feet. So you have time to work with the animal and know how the animal is and feed the animal. So it's not like you get a 10-foot animal in a year and you have to worry about caging and feeding and stuff like that. But 10 feet is, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of snake. I mean, for anybody, that's a lot. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot to deal with. She's trying to wrap herself around the wires. Wow, 4 feet? That's crazy. I've never seen those before. Where are those based out of? Is that a locality? Yeah, 10 feet. I mean, they say 10 feet. The 12 feet is good for one person, and then after 12 feet, you shouldn't handle an animal, um, you know, without without a second person, which I agree on. But I'm gonna be breaking all those rules because It's just me. You just have to be smart about how you handle stuff. But 10 feet is that's a lot. It's a lot to handle. Mountain boa. Okay. Mexico in the mountains. Nice. I'm gonna look those up after I get off of here and see what those look like. I would say ghost just because I have a ghost. I mean I have VPI also, but ghosts are awesome. I love them, and I always say it, and it's just my personal opinion. I think they're underrated. I think people look over them. They look really, really nice as babies, and they look really nice as adults, but they're not super flashy, and they just don't get a lot of attention. It seems that's just my opinion. I rarely see them at any reptile show. I rarely see people posting pictures of them online, but VPIs are awesome, and you can make really cool combinations with them as well. Anybody that says they have a 15-foot boa, I say prove it on a tape measure. They can't. Or 13 feet. Now, unless it's a locality Peruvian or a locality snake, I'd say 13's pushing it. Possible, but pushing it. 15 on a boa, I I need to see some. I would need to see some hard proof on that. Huh. Where are you guys finding those? Are they on Morph Market? I mean, that kind of goes back to the thing where, there's $100,000 bounty out for a 30-foot snake. All these people with retics were saying they got 30+ foot snakes. And then when they actually take them into a vet to get the money or have a scientist, lay them out and measure them, they're only measuring 22 feet. So it's like people judge length differently than other people. Wow, that's a small meal. I'm sure those wouldn't eat very big meals as adults either. Maybe small as adults. That wouldn't be too bad. Bill. That's not bad. Easy to deal with those. I'd have to see proof on a 29-foot retic. I don't believe that at all. And I'd have to see scientific measurements on that, because I know that there was a Google search on a retic at 30 feet in Indonesia, and they never measured it. So I'd have to see hard proof on that. They say that there's 30-foot plus anacondas on record, and there's no true measurements on them. That's crazy. That'd be weird to see a boa that small. Like, that's the thing. People say that they have big snakes, but there is never ever picture proof of a snake on a tape measure ever. And I mean, people are like, people measure the sheds, and they're like, I have a 15-foot boa because the shed was 15 feet. It's like, well, you probably have a 9-foot or a 10-foot boa. Or a dead snake. Like, you can stretch it, like you can stretch the skin on a dead snake so it can be longer. You know what I mean? So I think that's why the bounty for 100 grand is, it has to be alive. We have to put it up on a measurement, at a vet or in a college veterinarian place to get real proof. And since Roosevelt was in office, it has not happened. So if it has happened, there's somebody out there rich. Well, okay, 100 grand is not rich, but somebody would have collected the 100 grand. Like Pop-Tart, I could say, how big do you think she is? 6 feet? She's all coiled up. In reality, she's probably 5 feet. I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers, but unless she's taped, you'll never know. I honestly don't know, but I know Roosevelt was very passionate about reptiles. I swear this fish I caught was this big, 10 pounds. It just jumped right off the hook. I think Roosevelt, I could be wrong, but didn't Roosevelt have a pet crocodile or an alligator? I don't know. I could be wrong, but I saw a picture. Could have been wrong. It was on the internet, but I don't know if it was true or not. Yep, we need receipts. We need hard evidence. And then people want to throw the Titan boa. It's like, okay, let's get to something that's alive. Titan boa is 800 feet. Well, it's dead, so that doesn't count. I think she's sleeping. You sleeping? I have to say the worst feeling ever when holding a snake is when they go backwards through your hands and you feel all the scales go in the opposite direction. You know what? If the Titan boa was still alive, I guarantee people would own it. Yeah. Not anymore, though. I mean, we still have some pretty massive animals roaming around. I mean, the retic is no small animal, but I mean, I'm even surprised people own mainlands as pets. It's like, man, I'm not gonna, they're just huge. That'd be a full workout. Like it's kind of difficult to even put her back. I couldn't imagine a full size retic not wanting to go back in a cage. And then cleaning, because I've watched. Oh man, I forget his name. Is it Wildfire Retics? Where he literally has snow shovels, like scoop and poop with snow shovels after his retics. I'm like, oh man, that's a full day's job right there, and just cleaning one cage. And then 2 hours later, I guarantee they're gonna, destroy that cage again. Oh, for sure, 6x2. I don't even know what you would feed them. You'd have, I mean, the food bill would be ridiculous. I mean, it's already enough on, because she's on. She can eat larges. So she's 2. She could eat large rats, and those are like what, $4. Large bison. Yeah, definitely. You'd have to have a cow pasture to feed them. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah. But I feed her mediums, and mediums are $3, $2.50, $3 every 2 weeks. It's not a lot, but added up with all the snakes. But yeah, I mean, like Wildfire Retics, he feeds a full, baby goat to his. I mean, He did post a video on Instagram. I'm shocked he didn't get beat up. He fed a live baby goat to one of his big retics. And I was like, ooh, man, you got. He didn't really get that much hate, though. I'm surprised. But I think if you. I mean, there's. I only feed live on my ball pythons just because that's what they would prefer. And most of them are babies, anyways. But I try to swap everything over to frozen. Um, but I mean, if you're feeding a full size retic, a live goat, and posting on the internet, you're only doing that for views. That's the only reason why. Her tongue was stuck out and just staying there. But I don't. I mean, so like rat pups to weaned rats, I don't mind feeding them live just because they really can't do that much damage. But rabbits, like full size rabbits, like they would probably tear your snake up with, because obviously they're going to try to escape when they're coiled, so they're going to be kicking the snake and they're going to tear the scales up and they're going to bite and stuff like that. Like it can just be messy. I'm shocked on how big some of these snakes can poop. Like it's bigger than what a normal dog would poop. I mean, yeah, some of my 5 foot, 6 foot boas, I mean, their poops are like massive. So that's another thing you gotta, big snakes, big meals, and big poop, messy poop, because they will smear it all over the cage. And then you're cleaning it for one cage for an hour, you know what I mean? Because it probably like, it's got to take time to, I, I think I would rather have small poops every day than one massive, like massive poop. I don't know, because it's got to take, and it takes time to get a big snake out of a cage. It takes time to clean it. It takes time to put a big snake back in a cage. I mean, they don't work with you at all, and you're fighting 100 pounds of pure muscle all the time. Looks like a. Can I show this? What is this? I've never had this pop up. Is that a picture? We'll just show it. Can I show that? Oh, I clicked it. I can't see anything. I don't know. Maybe you guys can see the picture. I can't. Yeah, so the only problem with anacondas that I would say is like the worst part about owning them is that they do poop and they do pee in their water every day. So it's not that bad. I don't have a very good system in her water area. So I don't have a pump or drain. So I constantly have to scoop out all the water, clean the poop, and then refill it back up. So it's not that bad. I mean, it probably takes 20 minutes. So it's not horrible, but um, you know, when she's pooping out 10-pound rabbits, I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, for sure. It's definitely a gym. I see like some big dudes that own full-size retics and just making a regular YouTube video. Like these big guys are out of breath, they're sweating, their shirts are soaking wet, and they've 15 minutes into making a video, and they're worn out. So, and then like people don't like I don't think people understand how big a snake actually gets when they buy them as babies like that at the reptile show. Like a retic's like that big, cute looking, you know. Oh, I can handle one of these. Yeah, so birds are gross, and that's what she was on for 6 months, and then my other one just got off of birds or quail, and it's disgusting. It's just pure feathers and liquid. Super gross. Yeah, they do. I mean, I can't really say very much because I personally never held a big snake. I've never owned a big snake. I've never been around a big snake. But I think you have to, I did a lot of research and I've already got the big cage. So working with them as when they're smaller is one thing, but I mean, I don't think a lot of people go into, I don't know. People just figure it's not that much of a deal or that much of a hassle, and then they just buy it and then they get rid of them. But luckily with retics, if you feed them right, they're not a heavy-bodied snake. Generally, from what I see, if I follow a good amount of people with retics, and they got 16, 18-foot retics, and I mean their retics probably like that big, not like that on a Burmese. Or other people on the internet where they're like that big and it's just like fat pockets going around. When a snake looks like a pancake when it's chilling on the ground, I think it's a little overfed. But that's just me. I've never owned a retic, but that's just from my non-professional opinion. Let's just say that. But people like we talked about earlier, people like watching big snakes eat. People like watching big snakes in general because I mean, I like seeing big snakes. So it's just cool to see something different, something crazy, but got to be careful with them. So probably gonna hop off of here. Been on here forever. I'm gonna go eat. Now I gotta go work tomorrow. Yeah, so that's like my main concern right now is not having a second person in the house. So I just personally do all of this stuff by myself. So when they get bigger, it will be a challenge. I do have some safety precautions for that. One is, you never let the big snake around your shoulders. You never give them the opportunity to wrap around your neck. Or you never take them above waist height because obviously it's a big animal. When you put them around a human, it's a small mass to a big animal, and a big animal that's not used to being off the ground is going to, be that fall complex. So like if it feels like it's falling or it doesn't have a good structured base, it's going to wrap around you so it doesn't fall. And that's where it's not the snake trying to hurt you. It's just the snake trying to not fall and to hold on to the tree or whatever is holding it, because I don't think they can sense that we're humans. So they want to get a good grasp from the height, and then they squeeze you, and then you pass out. So above the waist height, don't let it happen. Always have alcohol, mouthwash, or something. So if they bite and they wrap, you just don't. I mean, a lot of people say don't do that, but if it's you or the snake, I'm going with myself, and I'm going to pour a bottle of very high level alcohol in its mouth, and it should release. So there's some safety precautions that you can have if it's just you by yourself. But learn the snake's body language. Don't try to be dumb or try to do something cool for views on social media that's going to end up putting you in the hospital or something, or worse. You know what I mean? So they're very strong, and feeding response is crazy. Like I couldn't imagine a full-size animal biting you and then trying to wrap you. But I think if you can get to a situation where, mouthwash, alcoholic mouthwash, or just a bottle of vodka or something that's going to burn his mouth and release, I think that would be the best way to go about it. I have a couple months ago, I saw a guy, huge berm, had a big berm, had it wrapped around his shoulders, had it wrapped around his neck, taking pictures and stuff, squeezed up on his neck, and he passed out. And when the snake, luckily, released its grip, he could get the airways back open, and he survived, which is definitely good. But again, you just don't put a snake above your waist. Don't put it, if you have a snake across you like this, then in its body, I think that is okay. But as long as the head doesn't go like around, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you have to be careful of. Shock collar. That's a good idea. I might have to do that. So when she gets bigger, shock collar or a bottle of vodka. So people have said if a snake wraps you, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bite it, and then they should release. Good luck. Good luck sinking your teeth into a 100-pound snake. Like that's really gonna. I don't know. I guess it's like punching a shark. If you get attacked by a shark, you're supposed to punch it. I don't know. I don't see how that could affect the shark, but apparently it works. So maybe biting a snake, if it bites you, helps. Oh, I'm for sure if an adult berm, anaconda, or a retic wraps you, you're hours to get it off, completely off. It would take forever. But hopefully nothing bad happens. And I mean, if you have to pick half the snake up and just drag it outside, then that's what you got to do. Which I think is what most people do anyways. Because there are people, there's people out there that handle big snakes just fine on their own. There's videos of Megan with her anacondas, her adult anacondas, making YouTube content. And it's, she's by herself and no issues. You see Nerd or whoever else, but I wish there was a super dwarf anaconda. I really do. I don't think we'll ever see that in the States. We might, but that would be really cool. So I know they got the they got the dwarf berms now. Seen those floating around, and those are really cool. Dwarf boas, dwarf retics, super dwarf retics. So I don't know. I hope she doesn't kill me. That's all I gotta say. But if I go out, I'll go out Steve Irwin style, doing something I enjoy. Yeah, they are pricey. But I think the price on a super dwarf up front is a lot cheaper than maintaining a full size retic. So I think it equals out to be probably a little even in the long run. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate the support. Let me know what you guys want to see on some videos or lives. I just guess on what you guys want to see, but hopefully you guys have an awesome weekend. See you guys. I appreciate you coming on here and spending a Saturday night here with Pop Tart.